Okay, so this is a core stability slash how to look after yourself when you've got a little bit of mainly muscular lower back pain. So that really kind of, you don't immediately need a scan, although you might think you do for a little bit. But something to just help you get those muscles firing up around your spine and core trunk area. And a really good way to just support your spine. So what I strongly suggest is that you do the mobility work first, so the lumbar and the thoracic. Even if it's just in your lower back, it's well worth doing the thoracic, so the mid-back loosening and mobility as well, and also working through into your round your hips and into your glutes. So what I'm going to start off with is just doing a little tiny bit of mobility through your lower back, and then we'll go into some exercises. So come and join me on the mat. So we're going to start off by hugging our knees into our chest. So if you can't pull them all the way up, that's absolutely fine. Just get to where you get to. And then we're just going to circle them round. So we're drawing a circle on the ceiling with our knees. So our knees are together, so it feels nice and supportive for our lower back. One way and then the other. And you're just trying to make the circles as big as you can cope with, depending on your level of discomfort in your lower back. And you might find that it just creates a little bit of achiness. You shouldn't get any sharp shooting pains. If you're getting sharp shooting pains, it's worth having a one-to-one assessment with a physio. And you can do that online. I'm doing them during this period of time, so I'm sure your local physio is too. And if not, get in touch. And then drop your knees over to the side, just as far as you can manage to feel comfortable. So it might be that you just go from here to here. And that's absolutely fine. So they're hugged in and you can support them with your hands. The key thing is that you don't roll over with it. So in essence, you're not actually moving your spine at all. You're keeping it rigid. So you want your knees to move separately to your shoulders. So you're just creating a little bit of rotation, side to side. Just gently, nothing's forced. And if you're feeling that you've got a little bit more range in your lower back, you can come all the way over, have a nice stretch through the side, go all the way over to the other side. Just going to scooch across and just drop them over, hang out there, feel that stretch going all the way through. Come back to the beginning, hug one knee in, hug the other knee in, and then we're going to start going through into some transverse abs, lower core, a little bit of multifidus work, so all the little muscles around your spine. What we don't want is your big muscles playing a huge part, so try and avoid working through your hip flexors. I'm going to grab a peanut or a block or something to just put under my tailbone, okay? And this enables you to just sink into the gap, so you take that arch out of your lower back. You can keep your hands there to support the peanut or place them on the floor to stop you going anywhere. That's absolutely fine. You can also do this flat, but I think that you can feel it a little bit more when you're taking out the arch from your lower back. So we're going to start just very simply. If you walk your fingers from the bony bits that stick out on the front of your hips and take them 2 steps in, about 1.5 inches in, and then cough. you should feel a little firmness under your fingertips, and that is the extent of those muscles. We're not looking for huge main mover muscles, we're looking for tiny weeny little muscles that do nice kind of postural things rather than main mover stuff. Okay, so it makes it nice and dynamic rather than a brace and hold position. We're looking for them to just come in and fade out. Okay, so we're going to go up onto your toes, just gently on the right foot without any change in your hip position. So you're just imagining you're drawing everything in here. So it's not abs. Abs, when you work them, stick out. We want them to just relax and go inwards here, because we're trying to create that wrapping effect there. So all the way down. If it helps, and we don't want you fixing through your jaw or grabbing the floor, clawing the carpet or anything like that, or gripping with your other foot, or squeezing your knees together as for all it's worth through your adductors. So if it helps, just as you inhale, exhale, and draw them in on the exhale as you go onto your toes. Inhale, exhale, go onto your toes. So you're just using your breath to help you. So that just helps get you into that feeling of it being nice and dynamic. So I'm not feeling my hip flexors working across the front of my thigh. I'm just feeling that gentle, really subtle movement or firmness going on just on my transverse abs and around my trunk muscles. Okay, so you're aiming to do about 20 to 30 of these. It's more a case of little and often, and just practice it. And as you practice it, you'll start off going, what the hell am I doing? I don't really feel anything happening. But eventually you'll just feel that quiet sort of confidence in your spine. Okay, so we're not lifting the foot off the floor, we're not really jerking, we're just moving really slowly between each foot. We're not getting any major shift in our spine. Okay, so we're now going to take the peanut out, and you might find it's a little bit sore into your glutes there, because you've also just added a trigger point element to release off your glutes. So we're now going to go through, so our feet are about hip width apart, so you can just about touch your ankles, or they can be a little bit further away, but ideally they're in line with your hands so that you can touch your ankles there. And then we're going to draw in through the belly button and roll through each vertebrae. It's coming all the way up to the top and then coming all the way down. So I'm starting with the top of my back. I'm placing each vertebrae down one at a time. I'm drawing in through my belly button, and I'm slowly rolling down until I reach my tailbone, and then I'm doing it all the way through again. So similarly, you can use your breath to do it, and all the way down. So as you work and as you use those muscles, use your out breath and recover on your in breath and out breath. And peel up all the way through, and just pause if you need to take another breath, because you want it to be nice and dynamic, and you're trying not to brace anywhere through. Okay, and back to the center. So we're now going to come up and onto all fours, and we're gradually going to make it up to standing. So we're taking it through from being on the floor, which isn't particularly functional for most people, but actually we're going to try and take it onto all fours and then into standing, which is much more functional. So going onto all fours, we're going to go through a cat-cow, which you've probably all done before. So head up, tail out, and belly down, and then head down, tail under, and pushing the middle back up, and then alternating between the two. And again, use your breathing. Don't find yourself holding your breath. Don't find yourself gripping the carpet. It's all about nice, free and easy breaths. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And then back to the centre. And then we're going to have a look for our tails. So looking over our left shoulder and looking for our left hip. And you want to be able to see the side of your hip over your shoulder. Okay, so you can see I'm not kind of really sinking into it or really kind of arching out of it. I'm kind of neutral and having a look. And then I'm looking the other side. And you might find that you can see one side more than the other. That's fine, you just want to balance it out. So you're just going into some side flexion through your spine. Okay, and then back to the centre, and we're going to do a nice big circle with our hips, dropping it down to the right ankle, coming across and all the way up. If you've got any knee cartilage issues, you don't necessarily want to create too much of a grinding effect on your knees, so just kind of smaller circles are absolutely fine. But you're just creating that circle with your hips. Okay, so if I show you from front on, you're going over to one side, coming across and back up on the other side. Over and back up. Okay, so then in your cat-cow position, you're now going to draw your belly button in as tight as you can while still being able to breathe. And then you're just drawing, so try and keep the balance between your shoulders and your hips, and you're just going to draw your fingertips out in front of you without letting go of anything and without dropping through your arms or lifting through your arms. So it's nice and stable, and you're coming onto the tips of your fingers and then drawing it back in. And the same with the other side. And draw it back in and replace. So you're not getting any shift with the exchange in weight. Okay? So drawing it out and back in. Drawing it out and back in. And you should just feel that gentle connection around your belly button. Keep going with that. And it's more about quality than quantity. So it's kind of time spent tensioning those muscles rather than necessarily doing loads of them and getting to a number and saying, yeah, I've done 30 of them, so that's it, done. It's more about the quality. I'd rather you did 3 and did them really well. And we're now going to add to this if you want to, or you can stick with just the hands going. But if you want to, you can start to just ease into the leg and go up onto your toes and draw it back in. It's a little bit harder with a sticky mat, so you're just wanting to draw out and come back in. And most people, even if they're really fit, get these wrong. And I'm not saying I'm perfect either, I'm just showing you how to do those muscles. And you can see, you can hear the concentration in my voice. as I'm using those muscles, I'm trying to make sure that I'm not using any of my big muscles to do it or to stabilize or to fix. I'm not holding on through my teeth or anything like that. And once you've got that going, you can do all variations. You can do it where you lift the arm up, you can do it where you lift the leg up, you can do it where you lift the leg and the arm up, you can do it where you pulse, but I'll leave that for another day. Okay, so you've got a little bit of strength work going on there. We're now going to go into a little bit of glute med and min work around your hip, because that can stabilize the side to side movement of your pelvis. What you don't want to do is lose energy side to side when you're walking, or fix and hold. So we need to get these muscles just firing up and make sure that there's no inhibition to them as well. So it's also worth knowing if you can't do one thing one side, and then working with a therapist or physio to try and get that messaging through your nervous system to fire back up, because it's probably something that just needs tweaking around your lower back. So coming down onto your side, and you're just going to take your left leg straight out, lead with your heel, so you're having a slight internal rotation, and you're going to pulse it up to the side. Not too high, because otherwise you'll lose it in your back. So you just want to come, so you're sending that heel away from you, just going nice and long and pulsing through there. And then you're going into circles backwards. And then the other way. So you're just starting to wake up the glutes there. And you can maybe do these around 20 to 30 times each. So pulse for 20, and then circle through one way and then the other way. And then don't forget to switch to the other side. So straightening out, turning the toe in, setting through the core, so you don't want to collapse forward and you don't want to be all sloppy through your core as you do it, and you just want to be nice and stable, so everything that's happening is happening below your hip, or below your the bone at the front, your pelvis, sorry. Okay, so I'm totally in line with my body, if not slightly behind my body, and I'm leading with my heel into my pulses. Get 20 going, and then taking it into circles one way and then circles the other way. And breathe. Don't find yourself holding your breath. Okay, and bring it back in. Ugh. So you feel that really working into the sides of your hips. And as I say, it's all about quality. So if you find yourself kind of losing it in your waist, then stop there. You've done enough. And just come back to it tomorrow or later on in the day. So we're now going to take it up into standing. So we are going to do some roll downs and roll ups. So I'm going to turn side on. You're using your belly button in towards your spine, really supporting yourself. And you're going to roll down and use your hands on your thighs as a guide. But what you don't want to do is hinge. Okay, so you're locking into extension and hinging. You want to actually roll down through your spine. So really curve down through. You can see my belly button's pulling me back, 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 but I'm still rolling down through each vertebrae to the bottom, and then rolling back up slowly, belly button in, leading the way, all the way, and make sure that you come all the way up to fully stacked, and that you don't kind of stop short, because that can indicate that you just don't quite know where you are in space and that you've got dysfunction around your spine, which most of us do, but we're just trying to normalize where we are in space. So belly button in, roll down all the way through, and then restack all the way up. The last thing to come up is your shoulders and your head. And then go again one last time. So just going through 3 really good ones. And it doesn't matter how far down you can get, even if you're just working through a dysfunction just here is fine. But you're all the while trying to, and you can have a slight bend in your knees, you can take your feet nice and wide. It doesn't have to be about that perfect alignment with your feet together. It can be just nice and relaxed there and rolling through. Okay? Once you get confident with that, you can then also go and do the same into extension. So what you don't want to do is aggravate an extension issue if you've got any facet pain or anything like that. But what we're trying to do is just give you as much stability going backwards as we do forwards. We often concentrate on what's in front of us and actually not every which way, every direction. So we're going to do exactly the same. So we're going to now go down the back of our legs, but go long. So imagine you're going really long through the crown of your head, belly button in towards your spine. And coming all the way up. And if you want to, you can combine it. And you might feel some clicks, cracks, providing they're not painful, that's absolutely fine. And providing you're not getting any raging symptoms going down your legs. That's one of the things where I would wait until you've had an assessment if you've got any raging sciatic pain going on into your legs, because you need a physio assessment first. Similarly, you can also do the same going down your spine to the side. So thinking about going long, so you're imagining that you're shooting the energy out through the top of your head and coming back, and similarly supporting it through the middle of your spine. So you're just going nice and long and over to the side and back. So you want your shoulders to move square to the front, okay? What you don't want is for them to be going forward or backward. You want to be going down the side of your leggings or shorts. Okay, so we've worked through each of the planes of movement. The only thing that we haven't really addressed is rotation, but I would have you doing all of those movements that we've just done today with a little bit more of a challenge first before getting on to more complex movements like rotation, such as working on your golf swing or going on a cross trainer or anything which involves rotation through a transverse plane, running and any kind of fast-paced walking, especially anything with load, because running is about 4 times your body weight through your body. So and walking is twice your body weight, roughly, depending on how fast you go. But it's just about being able to cope with the extra demands of movement and making your core work whilst you're moving, so making it really dynamic. I hope this has helped for anyone at home who's struggling without their physio and just needing a little bit of support around their spine. As I say, do it alongside the mobility work, and if you've still got an issue, go and get an assessment on your lower back, because it will hopefully reassure you, and if not, they can advise you on whether you need more urgent medical attention, or that you can perhaps catch up for some treatment and go through an individualised programme. So I hope this has helped. I hope you're feeling much more comfortable and that you feel a real sense of confidence in your spine following it. And hopefully tomorrow you might feel a little bit achy through those muscles, but nothing major, and you should feel much looser and really getting those your lower back moving rather than stiff and having to compensate from elsewhere. So hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon.